look at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like it's a tap. Like, he's got a tap. Just like unlimited amount of money. Money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever. Like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think it's just the lifestyle that Floyd lived.
Yes.
I think he can't fathom to just live a modest lifestyle. It's like he gotta be lavish.
Right. He's got to have those videos where he shows you all the watches, where he opens the case up, you know.
All the money. He gotta show that he got $1 million in his backpack. And, you know, he got the latest watch and the latest car, and look what I just bought.
And when you get into latest watches and latest cars, you get into that, like, boy, that money goes quick.
Yeah.
Bugattis are like $3 million. There's watches that are $3-5 million. That's crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10.
Joe Rogan did not hold back when the topic of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and his real estate claims came up during a discussion. Instead of quietly questioning it, Rogan openly challenged the numbers. He leaned forward and basically said that the math behind the claims didn't make sense to him. His reaction made it clear that he wasn't fully convinced by the story being told about Mayweather's massive property holdings. Rogan's tone suggested that the figures being mentioned sounded impressive on the surface, but once you actually looked closer at them, the numbers didn't appear to line up the way they should.
One of the reasons why people watch him fight is not because he's like Mike Tyson, just goes out and destroys people. They like watching him fight because they hate him. Because he talks so much shit, and he's like, look at my $1 million watch, look at my fucking jet, look at my house, look at this. He's like constantly showing you all these things that he has. Like, he'll lay out watches in a hotel bed, like, this is $1 million worth of watches. This watch goes for $2 million. And they're like, this is my small watch that I take sometimes, but I want to show you, when I show up, I bring out the big boy, and it brings out this watch that's covered in diamonds. It's like $5 million. And so you hate him.
And that Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment. His private jet fuel, he's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets, and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan from an individual, from a billionaire, that had a 9% interest on.
Rogan went even further by questioning the entire narrative surrounding Floyd's supposed real estate empire. According to the claims, Mayweather owns dozens of different buildings, many of them valued in the tens of millions. Rogan pointed out that there is a big difference between bold public statements and assets that can actually be verified. In his view, flashy declarations about wealth often sound great in interviews or social media posts, but unless there is clear proof behind those statements, people should approach them with caution. Rogan's skepticism centered on the idea that there can sometimes be a large gap between public image and confirmed financial reality.
IRS, how much does he owe?
It's in the $20+ million range.
It's a lot of money, man.
But it's not something that he's been, it's not like deception.
No.
It's just neglect to
it's
pay.
Neglect. And it's also like, I think, and there is like a truth to this. He makes so much money. There's probably a point when they're like, hey, it's time to pay your taxes. And you go like, all right, here's a check for $25 million. That's an incredible amount of money. And then they go, that's true, but you owe 50 more. And he's just like, that can't be right. I've given you $25 million.
Yeah, he's bought over 100 luxury cars from the same dealer and always pays in cash.
He has $15 million worth of cars.
Congrats. You can sell.
This is where the conversation begins to get even more interesting. For years, Floyd carefully built the famous Money Mayweather identity. That persona was built around the image of unlimited wealth, piles of cash, expensive watches, luxury cars, and a financial empire that looked completely unstoppable. The brand was powerful because it projected the idea that Mayweather's money would never run out. However, some reports circulating within the business and financial world suggest the situation may not be as simple as the public image suggests. Instead of the flawless empire often displayed online, some analysts say the real picture might be far more complicated behind the scenes.
Floyd Mayweather is made, and because he's the best in the history of pay-per-view at making sure that the money ends up in his pocket. He is or has been a businessman as an athlete that almost doesn't have a peer because he owns all his own stuff as an independent. Your spending has to be so fiscally irresponsible to lose the amount of money that Floyd Mayweather has lost that it is almost beyond anything that is reason. It's not merely fiscal insanity. It's something that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And another sign of him maybe in financial trouble is, as of February 2026, Floyd Mayweather has initiated a massive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former executive Steven Espinoza. So he's trying to get some bread right now.
The estimate is that he made over $1.2 billion over the course of his career. And
according to reporting from Business Insider, at least 2 of Mayweather's commercial real estate properties have reportedly faced foreclosure at different points. There were also claims that his Las Vegas strip club property was at risk of being taken due to unpaid property taxes. When you add those stories to lawsuits connected to unpaid bills for luxury watches and jewelry, the discussion starts to shift in a completely different direction. But Mayweather himself has strongly denied several of those claims and pushed back against the accusations. Still, once these kinds of reports enter the public conversation, the focus naturally moves away from celebration of wealth and toward closer financial examination.
I mean, things that they said in this article were insane. That Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment. His private jet fuel, he's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million.
The same outlet also reported that 2 condos inside Trump International Hotel Las Vegas were temporarily seized due to unpaid tax obligations before eventually being returned once payment was made. On top of that, there were reports about a massive $54 million loan that allegedly used several of Mayweather's assets as collateral, including homes, businesses, and even his private jet. Whether those situations were exaggerated or simply misunderstood, on the contrast between Mayweather's luxury image and these financial reports has clearly sparked debate. Rogan's earlier doubts about Floyd's business empire already had people questioning things. Then suddenly another outspoken voice jumps into the discussion, Chael Sonnen, and he brings an entirely different energy to the topic.
Broke! Of course he's broke. He's a boxer. Did they say can't read? That's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said that he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He was a guy who grew up in a boxing gym, right? It's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. I didn't teach him about contracts. I didn't teach him about saving. I didn't teach him about investments. Who would have taught him these things? Of course he's broke.
Sonnen approaches the conversation with his usual blunt style, almost as if he grabbed the microphone and decided there was no reason to hold anything back. Instead of acting surprised by headlines asking whether Floyd might be broke, Sonnen basically flips the entire question around. He asks why people find the situation shocking at all. His argument is simple: most people wake up every week and go to work because they need money, so why would it be unusual for a boxer to keep fighting for that same reason? His comment carries a mix of straight honesty and playful trolling, which is typical of Sonnen's personality. But he doesn't stop there. Sonnen also begins challenging the massive earnings numbers often reported in boxing. He suggests that the famous billion-dollar career totals and gigantic pay-per-view sales figures frequently come from promotional announcements rather than verified financial documents. He even pointed out that companies actually responsible for processing pay-per-view purchases rarely confirm those extremely large numbers publicly. That statement alone throws serious doubt into years of boxing promotion hype.
Mom is all over the... What do you mean is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question. But it's the fact that they're attempting to tease him. I mean, first off, they're asking the question. Look, I've told you until I'm blue in the face. The numbers that you hear in boxing simply aren't true. Floyd made $1 billion. No, he didn't. Floyd and Conor made $500 million. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Nobody's ever confirmed that. And it's the same thing with the check. I got $100 million for a fight. Oh, you did? Who signed the check? Whoever signed the check is going to want credit for it. There's never been a time that $1 million check was written and the dude that wrote the check didn't make sure that somebody found out he wrote the check. So who wrote the check? Floyd's got a whole bunch of them, apparently. He got $1 billion.
At the same time, Sonnen is not only criticizing Floyd. He is also calling out the entire way financial success is presented in professional sports. According to him, many of the huge numbers fans hear about come from promotional storytelling designed to build excitement. Then Sonnen shifts the conversation toward the confusing situation surrounding multiple fight announcements tied to Mayweather. He explains that if a fighter starts publicly announcing several upcoming bouts at the same time, especially around a rumored fight with someone like Tyson, it would create serious headaches for promoters. In the fight business, scheduling and exclusivity are extremely important. Sonnen also points out an interesting contradiction. Mayweather has previously accused Showtime of questionable business practices, yet critics sometimes claim that Mayweather's own promotions have created similar confusion, especially during negotiations involving Logan Paul.
The numbers aren't what you think they are, right? The numbers are good and they made a lot of money, but it's not what you think it is. And yeah, of course Floyd's broke. Would you be boxing if you weren't? And it's very tough to be sympathetic.
At that point, the entire situation starts to resemble a hall of mirrors. Everyone seems to believe someone else is responsible for the confusion. Promoters blame fighters, fighters blame networks, and critics blame everyone involved. Yet despite all the criticism and debate, there is one fact that stands out clearly. People may question Mayweather's finances. They may debate the accuracy of the reported paydays. Some fans might even roll their eyes at exhibition fights. But the moment Floyd Mayweather's name appears on a fight poster, the entire combat sports world immediately pays attention. Whether people support him or criticize him, his name alone still generates headlines and massive interest.
Clear that up. No, he doesn't. Will Logan ever get the money? I think Floyd's broke. Floyd does not owe Logan $1.3 million. Floyd's promotion owes Logan $1.3 million. And no, of course he's not going to get it. That promotion's already shut down. Alleged.
After Sonnen poured gasoline on the debate about whether Floyd might actually be facing financial trouble, the conversation grew even bigger when media personalities like Jason Whitlock joined the discussion. Suddenly the topic felt less like a sports debate and more like a group of financial investigators trying to analyze the numbers behind the scenes. Whitlock referenced ideas previously discussed by Shannon Sharpe and others who believe Mayweather's decision to come out of retirement could be motivated by the possibility of another massive payday. As soon as names such as Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, and Terence Crawford entered the conversation, the financial side of the discussion became obvious. Sharpe argued that those are the kinds of matchups capable of generating the enormous revenue Floyd might still be chasing. Those suggestions weren't just random guesses. They essentially represent the short list of blockbuster superfights that could attract worldwide attention. Then Whitlock adds an unexpected twist by referencing the famous question from the Rocky films, "Why do you fight?" Turning the debate into a surprisingly philosophical moment about motivation, legacy, and the reason fighters continue stepping into the ring.
Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco suggested on their podcast that Floyd Mayweather is talking about coming back, unretiring.
He is.
Because he's broke.
Yeah.
Let's play the clip here of Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco.
There are only 3 fights that Floyd can have that can command and get the kind of money he's looking to recoup for money that may have been lost, or money that may have been stolen, or money he may have spent, to date. For one, a rematch with Canelo. That's one fight.
Canelo too big.
Listen to me, Unc. We talk about making that money.